Hello, if you're here on the live stream, I am glad you are here. I am doing some of the tech stuff. I always hope the tech gods will be in my favor. Let's see. No, that's not what I want. Well, I guess maybe I'm doing this as a vertical live stream this time. I hope you're able to get in okay. Oh, let me see. There we go. Well, I can't see it. All right, let me get this in the holder and then we will get started. And I apologize. I'm going to sit you there while I get this fixed. Okay. I was set up for horizontal and it looks like I'm going vertical. So that's okay too. All right. So welcome, you guys. I'm glad you're here. I see a couple of you in here. If you would drop in the comments where you're watching from, I would love to see that. I am flying solo tonight, so I'm going to sit back here. I did a test with my phone a little bit ago, and the native audio on the phone was as good as with the lav mic, and in some ways even better. So I'm just going to do this, but thank you for joining. I'm glad you're here. We're going to talk about 3 lessons that every man needs to unlearn. So I guess I'd love to make sure that the audio is going out okay. And so if you're watching this, if you can drop something in the comments. I don't have my laptop here. Last time I did this, I had my laptop here too. So hopefully it will just be okay. And hopefully I can see your comments as they come through. All right, so if you're watching this now, you're probably watching the replay, and I'd love to have you put in the comments #replay. Let me know where you're watching from. If you are joining and coming in, then I'd love to have your comments here. Clayton, good to see you there. Are you hearing me okay? Is the audio doing okay? If you don't mind dropping that in there, that would be fantastic to know that too. We're going to talk about, like I said, this live stream is about 3 lessons that every man needs to unlearn. Oh, hey, great. I see. Thank you, Clayton. That's good to know you're hearing me okay. And that's Clayton, that's Caden. I did bring my glasses for just such an occasion. Oh, yes, Caden, my bad. My bad. Caden, thank you for letting me know. Zai's journey. Hey, great. I'm glad you guys are here. I'm glad you're listening in. I hope you'll get some value out of this, and I expect you will. Particularly, this channel is geared for men that have grown up without a dad, to give them guidance, give them direction, to help them learn how to be a man, an adult male, successfully. And so we're going to talk about 3 lessons that every man needs to unlearn. And so I grew up without a dad. My parents were divorced. I grew up the youngest of 5. So I did have some older siblings that I could watch, but there were still a lot of lessons that you learn through the school of hard knocks. And in fact, one of the lessons that you need to unlearn, or every man needs to unlearn, is I have to ask for help. If I have to ask for help, I've already failed. It feels like sometimes that when you're growing up, you feel like, okay, a real man, a successful man would know how to live his life. He would know how to do these things. So you run into something you don't know how to do, you feel like you failed if you have to ask a question. So that's the first lesson you need to unlearn as a man. It's not failure to ask for help. That's the short answer for it. When I was in the 8th grade, I remember there were a couple of young men that decided to, we'd say bully today, pick on me. They basically threatened me. So every day during, I'd pass them in the hall, they'd threaten me under their breath. We're going to get you after school. I'd go home after school and I'd relax for about a half an hour. They didn't beat me up after school today. And then I'd start worrying about the next day. And there's a lot of lessons in this, but in my adolescent logic, I thought I couldn't think of who I could ask for help. I couldn't think of who I could talk to. In my mind, if I talked to my mom, then she would talk to the principal. And the only thing worse than getting beat up after school would be being branded as a mama's boy. And I didn't want that. So I didn't share any of that with my mom. I didn't feel like I could talk to her about it. I didn't know who I could talk to. If I had not felt like it would be failure to ask for help from somebody, it probably would have ended a lot sooner and a lot more positively. It's not failure to ask for help. If you're a guy and you don't know how to do something, it doesn't mean you failed. If you think that's true, then that's the first lesson that you need to unlearn. Um, all right, I got some notes behind me so I can hopefully stay on task here. And I'm seeing the comments in here, and I appreciate those comments, Caden, that you're putting in here. Um, and everyone else that's joining, I'm glad you're here. And please do put them in the comments. I will try to keep up with those. In fact, I better take a look as I go. This would have been better to do on my laptop because I could have seen that better. But I'm Bill Gates. Man, I wish. Well, no, I wish I had his money, but not his life. All right, that's the first lesson that I jotted down that I think you need to unlearn. If you feel like it's failure to ask for help, that's a lesson you need to unlearn. Here's a second lesson that men often feel like it is right when it's actually wrong. Emotions make you weak. If you feel emotions, or if you give in to your emotions, or you express your emotions, that's a sign of weakness. That's not true, and that's a lesson you need to unlearn. But there's a right way and a wrong way to do it. I was working in the auto industry. I think this meeting was in Ohio somewhere. So I was in a team meeting with a company had bought different divisions and brought us together, and we were trying to consolidate on a software program that we were going to use to launch new product. And every division had their own flavor for that already. So the emotions are high because the people that are in this meeting love theirs. They want to use theirs, right? So our task was to meet and objectively evaluate the pros and cons of every system and then look at what would it take to standardize to one of them. Well, as we went through the pros and cons of each system, it became clear that one of those was not in the running. It just wasn't good. It was like a custom written program that some guy had made and clunky, and it worked for that division, but it wouldn't work for the corporate level. And as that became apparent and we were expressing that, the guy whose baby that was, he got up and threw a chair, literally in a meeting. He picked up the chair and threw it and walked out of the meeting. So we're in a professional meeting, right? This is a corporate environment, and some guy throws his chair. So he's expressing his emotion, he's experiencing his emotion, but that's not the right way to manage your emotions. Now, the bigger risk for emotional management is to try to suppress them. When you're growing up and you feel hurt, you don't want people to know that. Even as adults, we don't want people to know that when we're hurt. When we feel sad or angry or ashamed or whatever it might be, a real man will suppress his emotions. That's the lesson that we tell ourselves, or that's a lesson that's often brought out. But that's not the case. So the goal, if you feel that, you need to unlearn that lesson. Emotions make you human, and trying to avoid them or suppress them is not going to help you. It's a sign of maturity to be able to manage your emotions responsibly. So rather than try to suppress emotions, you need to learn how to manage them. That's the right lesson for that topic. So it's okay to feel anger, hurt, sadness, even to cry, but where and how you express emotion is what defines maturity. So real manhood is emotional maturity, not emotional suppression. That's the takeaway for that one. All right, so these are lessons, again, that a lot of men, sorry, I want to catch some of the comments here. A lot of men, particularly those that have grown up without a dad, will draw these conclusions or pick them up from society, and they're actually counterproductive. So you don't want to. Yeah, a good question, because I don't know any magic tricks, Devin. So that's why I'm not doing that. All right, it looks like we got some fun guests in our live stream today, and I'm glad you're here too. Okay. All right, the third lesson, the last one I want to talk about here is my past defines me. So my channel is geared for men that have grown up without an involved or loving dad. It's a challenge to grow up in that environment, and particularly today, because there's a lot of other messages in society that I didn't have when I was growing up that way. So it was tough then. It's even tougher now, and I want you guys to have the best chance to figure life out, to be successful, and you can enjoy happiness and fulfillment and even positive relationships with your own family if you learn how to do it, and if you decide that's what you want, and then you can do it. Um, so, sorry, comments distracted me a little bit. The last lesson is that my past defines me. I can't change because I've got these disadvantages, because I grew up without a dad, for example. And if we did, then it's easy to come to those conclusions. You feel less confident. You feel, because you don't know how to do a lot of things that maybe other people have figured out how to do. You are insecure, maybe in your relationships when it comes to figuring out how to ask a girl out. Um, Even after you've got a girlfriend, how to manage a relationship in a healthy way. A lot of those things will feel like I, it's predetermined that I'm not going to be good at this because I had these disadvantages in the past. You need to unlearn that lesson, because the right conclusion is that you can change your future. You're not determined by what your past was. It takes more effort for those of us that grew up without a dad to figure some of these things out, but you can still do it. There's a lot of tools available today to help you learn lessons, to help you overcome some of those challenges and disadvantages, but you have to make the choice, and then you have to put in the effort, the reps to do it. Okay. Um, So, three lessons that you need to unlearn if those are things that you have concluded to be true. You don't, it's not failure to ask for help. If you need help, ask for help. That's okay. All of us do that. Um, Emotions make you weak, they don't make you weak. Not managing your emotions makes you less of a person, but learning how to do that is a process. So, you're not going to start at a high emotional maturity level, but you can get there if you're shooting for that. And you're not stuck in your future because of your past. You can change your future. You can change who you are by putting in effort and putting in the reps. So, um, those are the three lessons I wanted to talk about in this. Now, I do want to tell you about a program. If this resonates with you, if you've grown up and your dad wasn't there to show you how, if you're feeling a lack of confidence in how to function as an adult, and maybe you're at a point where, I got a job, I've got enough money coming in, I'm surviving just fine, but you recognize that there's a lot more that you could be accomplishing if you had someone to show you how and what to do, to coach you and to help you along the way. I haven't been posting as much lately because I've been in the background building a course, a program. It's called the Manhood Reset. So if I've described your situation at all, if you're, I don't want to say drifting, but if you know you could be doing better, accomplishing more, but you don't know how to go about it, or you need someone to guide you and prod you and give you the tools, then I want you to check out the Manhood Reset program. It's an 8-week online course. Each week, we're going to focus on different things. It starts with your space, taking care of your space. If you're living in a cluttered home or apartment or living space, you need to start there, because that carries with you into your emotions and into your psyche. So we start there. We talk about physical well-being, not just talk about. There's each week there's like 2 or 3 actions. They're small, they're simple, and you can build on them from week to week. But it's, how are you fueling your body? Are you taking care of yourself so that you've got the energy that will help you be optimum throughout the day? And We move into strengthening your mind. What are you feeding your mind? Becoming a producer, how you manage money. Many adults have no idea how to manage their money. And so that's one of the week that we go over in the Manhood Reset course also. So if any of that would be of benefit to you, then please check out the link. I'll put the link in the description, manhoodreset.com/manhood reset. But the link's in the description for this one. I hope this has been helpful to you. Put in the comments what the biggest lesson that you've had in life that you needed to unlearn. And I'd love to see that and engage with you on that. Thank you for joining the live stream today. I want you to know that even if you grew up with an absent or negative dad, that you can still figure out how to succeed in life. And you do have a dad that cares about you and wants to see you succeed. And I will see you on the next video or live stream. You guys have a good night.